Hi, we're going to take another look at Empyrion today. I did a start guide a few months back, but since then an update has dropped, version 1.8 as you can see here, and there have been some changes to the game, most notably to the start, such that it's probably worth taking another look at. Effectively, a new quest has been bolted onto the start of the game, but also some of the key recipes have changed, so let's take another look at this. So we're going to go to start game, and we're going to go single player. And it brings you to this screen. So firstly, scenario creative freedom, you've got tons of options here, but we're just going to go vanilla survival with none of the vanilla assumptions being changed, and it brings you to this screen. So the main thing here is that you have a start location. It gives you Aqua, it gives you Ningas, and Skillon, Maspron, and it comes back to Aqua. So you've got four choices. Now Aqua is the temperate planet, and as you can see, you've got a snow planet, desert, alien swamp, and back to temperate again. Now you see the difficulty settings here, medium and easy. Now these don't change based on the planet that you choose. However, if you go either of these three, Ninga, Skillon, Maspron, there are some significant challenges that you don't get on Aqua. So if you are new to the game, you definitely want to start on Aqua Temperate, because it gives you a reasonable temperature range here, and you can breathe and you don't get radiation. If you go to Ningas, the snow planet, then you've got to deal with cold temperatures, although you can breathe. If you go to the desert planet, you've got to deal with high temperatures and it's no longer breathable. And if you go to Maspron, you find that the enemies tend to be more frequent and you get attacked more often. So this is definitely the one to start with. Now, if you look at the seed number up here, now I've got 534979, that's pretty random, I'll play with that one. But unless you see the same number up here and you can randomize it and manually set it, then actually let's go with that one. It doesn't make any difference, because you get a different planet but the difficulty is exactly the same, so it's just some cosmetic changes. Now if you look down here, it does give you a clue as to the difficulty, and it says down here no tutorial support, so suitable for advanced players, etc. So that just confirms that Aqua Temperate is the way to go. So let's get going. So the first thing we see is this cutscene with the module hurtling towards the planet, and we just have to wait for the crash, nothing to do at this stage. So once we come to, we get this pop-up and
emergency
it gives us a choice.
Situation detected.
Yes, I would like to have support
Robinson
from the tutorial,
Protocol
or no, I'm already a veteran for this kind of
UCH001A
situation.
initiated.
So I'm going to go with no, just for the purposes of the video, and then we get a pop-up which just confirms our choice. Now, first thing to do is look down at your feet, and you'll see a bunch of stuff there. So we just pick everything up. Done. Then press tab, and it just shows you what you've picked up. So we picked up some bandages. I'm going to put those in the 9 slot, just have it. We picked up a survival tent. We can place that down later, and that will give us a spawn point. And we picked up a flashlight. Won't need that right away. And we've also got a survival tool, which is I'm going to leave in the 2 slot, and a detector I'm going to put in the 3 slot, just have it again. We also got a couple of energy bars. Now, if you look at the perish time on those, you've got 89, because they do perish after a period of time. So we're just going to eat those straight away. We'll be making lots more later, so we don't particularly need them. Bottom left, as you can see, you've got your stats, you've got your health. We start at half health, which is 250 out of 500. And hunger 335 out of 500. Well, we just ate a couple. I think that started at 250. That's our stamina, 500. It's full at the moment because we're not doing anything, and that's oxygen at the bottom. And because it's a breathable atmosphere here, there's no counter on that. Now, if you look at the top right, you've got 3 tabs up here. Report bug. We're not going to be bothering with that one. So the 2 that you really care about is stats and survival constructor. Now, the stats basically just confirm what you've got in your bottom left here. It gives you your health, food, stamina, but it gives you some more information down here. I guess most notable one is the comfort zone temperature, which tells us we're comfortable between 15 degrees C and 35 degrees C. I'm not sure what the Fahrenheit ones are, but if you're in Fahrenheit, they'll be different numbers, of course. All right, the next one is survival constructor. So there's 6 levels of constructor in the game, and this is the simplest one because it's the one that we always carry it around with us. And one of the first things we want to do is upgrade to this portable constructor, because that's the next level up. So once we have one of these, we can place it down on the ground and we get more options on things that we can make. The other important thing in this menu here is the energy bars, because that's going to be our initial food source that we're dependent on for the first couple of days at least. And for that you need a couple of plant protein. Now, as you can see, this portable constructor is gated, and the way to ungate things is if you press F3, it takes you to the tech tree. So you've got all these headings at the top, which we can deal with later, but the one you want just for now is the miscellaneous one. And if you scroll down, you find the portable constructor right there. And if you press unlock, it tells you that we can't do it because we don't have any unlock points. Now, you get unlock points by leveling up. And the easiest way to level up, if you look around, is there are tons of plants that we can pick up, and that's the quickest way to level up, so that's what we're going to do. Now, the survival tool here, you just press 2 to equip it, and if you right mouse click, it gives you 3 options. Now, first one is salvage mode. You use this for wrecks and things. We won't be needing this in the first day or two. And then you've got defense mode. Now, if you're in defense mode, if you get attacked by something, you can zap it with this. And in the first few days, everything on this planet at least, if you just zap them and walk backwards, you're pretty much okay. So this is actually not a bad weapon to start with. We can upgrade later, but that's good enough to start with. But we're going to want it on resource mode mainly, because you can walk up to rocks and zap them. And as you can see, that black one just gave us 5 carbon substrate. Now, to level up, just going back, tab again, survival constructor. If we want to make food, we need plant protein. And these sausage-like plants here, just walk up to them. And F gives you 2 plant protein. But if you look in the top left there, it also gives you 100 XP. And this is by far the fastest way to level up in the game. And that is just pick as many plants as you can. So, what we're going to do at the start of the first day is just run around picking up as many plants as we can. And we're also going to hit as many of these as we can, 2 carbon substrate, because we're going to need it on day 2. Now, previous versions of the game, we used to need iron on day 1, and we don't anymore. So this rock here with the kind of turquoise colouring, that's an iron-bearing rock. But we don't need to waste time on those anymore, because what we're going to do, if we just equip our detector on 3, and we ping, and then press M for map, you see these icons here, that's going to be mines, and normally it gives you 3. Sometimes you don't see 3, maybe you see 2, you might have to run around a bit and keep pinging to catch all 3, but it normally gives you 3 nearby ones. Now, one of those is going to be iron, one of those is going to be copper, and one of those is going to be silicon. Sometimes you get more than 3 too. But the goal on day 1 is to hit each of these mines, and that will give us enough iron, copper and silicon such that we can make everything that we want to make on day 2. So just pinging again. So that's the goal, just to run around, pick as many plants as we can to level up. Goal being to get to level 7 by the start of day 2, but also to hit these mines so that we have all the iron, copper and silicon that we need. So because we're going to be getting all of the iron, copper, silicon that we need from the mines, we don't need to be bothering with these rocks, so we're not going to. So that was an iron rock. So again, you can see there's lots of carbon substrate around, and we just need to hit as much as we see. And it's worth going out of our way for as well. If we see carbon substrate, just go for it and then pick up plants along the way. As you can see, we've reached level 2 already just from the plants that we've picked up. So now what we can do is we can go back to F3, go back to miscellaneous, and now we can unlock the portable constructor, because those level ups gave us 10 unlock points. And there you go, unlock. So now if we go tab, we can go back to our survival constructor, and we can start to make these. Now they take 5 carbon substrate each, which is a change in the game because it used to take iron, but no longer. Now I'm going to make 4. We could probably do with get by with 3, but I'm going to make 4. And we had enough carbon substrate for that, and then just leave that. Another thing I'm going to make is a portable heater cooler, because that'll give us a light source in the mines when we go down later. Now this isn't strictly necessary on the temperate planet, because temperature is normally within our comfort zone. But if you're on a cold planet or a hot planet, then these things are pretty useful, because what happens is you can place it down next to you and it stabilizes your temperature at 25, as long as it's not too hot or too cold. But we need to unlock this, so let's go back to F3. Staying in miscellaneous, and we go down here, we got our portable heater cooler. Now this one we need to be level 3, so what we need to do is keep running around. And you see how quickly we level up if we keep picking plants here. We should hit level 3 any moment now. Just hitting the carbon substrate again. So hitting the rocks, I think you may have seen there, it gives you 50 experience points, whereas picking a plant gives you 100. So this here, that's level 3. So let's just go back, hit the F3 key again, just go back to miscellaneous. So now we can unlock this. Done. Press tab, go back to survival constructor. And now we can actually make it. So there's our portable heater cooler there, just click there, and there's our cube. Right, so now we carry on. Now this is a silicon rock. Again, we don't need to bother with these because we will be getting all the silicon we need from the mines, so we can ignore it. Just plants and carbon substrate is all we want. So that's iron and silicon that we've seen. There are a couple of other types of rock. Now this is just regular rock with no colouring, and we will be needing that later, but not right now. So again, just hitting all of the carbon substrate and picking up every single plant we see, whatever type of plant it is. So the only type of rock that we have not seen so far is a copper one, which is over there. So this is copper, again.
Commander, I am tracking a faint electromagnetic signal not far away. We should investigate, as it might be another escape pod or even a trace of the fleet.
Oh, that's right. After a minute or two you do get this pop-up notice which tells you that there's something nearby that you need to investigate. And you can either go ignore or mark location on HUD, go mark location on HUD, and it tells you where it is. So if you go M for map now, and this is what just showed up, scientist camp, and that's actually where we're going to be making our base on the start of day 2. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is these 3 mines and just keep running around. So the copper looks like this, but we can ignore it because we'll be getting all of the copper that we want from the copper mines later on. The only ones we need are the black ones here, which is the carbon substrate, and to pick every single plant we can see. There will be various different types of plants. Now this one gives us fiber. And the thing about fiber, and if you look at bandages here, it takes plant protein and plant fibers. So if you get fiber, you can make more bandages. We don't need more bandages than that at the moment. We've got 2 on us, but that's enough. So that's all we're going to do. Just run around, pick up every single plant we see, and hit up every single carbon substrate that we see as well. Goal being to level up as quickly as possible and get as much carbon substrate as possible, because we are going to need it on day 2. Now this is a bit repetitive, so what I'm going to do is just skip ahead while I'm doing all this. As mentioned, all I'm going to be doing is just picking up plants and hitting up the carbon substrate. And I'll see you in a bit once I get close to the mines. So we're now at the point where we've run around a lot. We picked up a lot of plants and also carbon substrate. So if we just look at our inventory here, we picked up 284 plant protein, a bunch of fibers, and we also picked up 316 carbon substrate. Now as far as our stats are concerned, we are halfway towards level 7. Now just pinging again, if we pick up our detector and go into map, we're here. So we've discovered this copper deposit here, and we're about to go mining. And what we'll do is, just going back to map, we'll mine this out, and it's a small mine, so we'll to pick up all of it, and then we'll go to this mine here, which will either be silicon or iron, like possibly. Now we picked up another mine here. I'm not sure what that is, but depending on how much resources we get out of these mines, we might end up doing both. I'm not sure. But anyway, and then we'll hit this mine before going towards the scientist camp. And by the time we get there tomorrow morning, we will be, if we keep picking up plants between the mines, then we should be easily at level 7 by then, which is our goal, but also with enough copper, iron and silicon that we can start to build things. Now, the copper mine is just pinging again. It's right here. We've got a steep slope, and you have to be careful with these because you can break your leg. I think you can slide down, you just don't walk. Yep, there you go. Another slope here, just slide down. Alright, and then we get to a new type of plant here we haven't seen before, which is vegetables. These will probably go bad, but seeing as we just want to level up anyway, let's just keep picking it. This is grain. Again, might go bad, but we don't care. All we really worry about at the moment is just the XP. Once we get to level 7, then we'll stop picking plants for now. Now, we're also going to need biofuel. Now, to get biofuel, we're going to have to cut down some trees to get some wood, and then we put that into one of our portable constructors. Now, if we just look at how that's going, go into our survival constructor, we've got everything made. So I'm going to put the portable constructors there, and I'm going to put the portable heater cooler there. Now, another couple of things I'm going to want to make is a water O2 condenser later on, so I'm going to get that going now. Now, as far as food's concerned, again, if we just left mouse click, it adds 1. If we go shift, it adds 10. Control left mouse click adds 100. Control shift left mouse click adds 1000. That will then use up all of this plant protein and make a bunch of energy bars here, which we can then eat, because as we can see, we're getting quite hungry. So once this is finished, it'll start on these. So we'll let that go. Now, as far as wood is concerned, there are 2 types of tree which are the most efficient in terms of getting wood, and one of them is here right now, and that is the one with all this stuff hanging down. So if we zap this tree, make sure it's on resource mode, yeah, as you can see, it's got 55 health points, so it cuts down quite quickly, and it gives you only 4 that time, but if we cut down a few more, you can get more wood from these trees. It's usually between 4 and I can't remember what the maximum is. Sometimes you get as many as, let's just cut down a few trees because we need some wood anyway. Okay, all 3 of those gave 4, which wasn't a great amount. Now I did see an enemy over there as well, so we get to try out survival as a weapon. Oh, there he is, yeah. So let's just get some space, make sure we're okay behind us, which we are. Oh, there's 2 of them, so just go into defense mode. Oop, too slow. But he didn't get us anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, that switching to defense mode and doing that very quickly can be tricky. But as you can see, this cuts him down, and as they get injured, they do run away, although he's stuck on that tree, so that's 1 down. So he gives us meat and some eggs, which is good because we're going to need some rotten food later, and the meat goes bad quickly, so we actually want that. But as you can see, we can just walk backwards and they can't catch us. Only problem is with raptors, if you get a whole load of them, then you can do a lot of walking backwards, which can take some time. But we need this meat anyway, so we don't mind this. Here's a different type of plant we'll need later on for certain types of medicines. Okay, we got that one. Let's just get a bit more wood and then go mining. Oh, we're in defense mode still. So that was only 3 wood logs. Gonna need a few more than that. That was 7. Just going to skip ahead and we'll do 3 more trees and then come back. So I think we got enough wood now, so let's just check. 44, yeah, that's plenty to be getting on with. Alright, so let's go mining. We are 49.9 meters away from our first mine, copper deposit. Keep picking up some plants. I want to hit that level 7, then I'll stop doing this. Where are we? Just hit stats. 86%. Yeah, we'll be at level 7 by tomorrow morning without problem. Probably do it now. You do see these rocks here, titanium burying. I can't think of any reason why to bother with titanium on the first day, so we're just going to ignore that. So So where was the copper again? Are we on top of it? Let's go M, it's disappeared. Yeah, we're on top of it. Yep, there we go, 24.8. So once you've got about that number, so just take your survival constructor, go into resource mode. And then what I like to do is, because as we've just seen there are enemies around, is just cut a path down to the resource. And then once you get to this point, just cut a small room off to the side here. Now, enemies can path down here, but their pathing isn't that great. So it's pretty rare that they come down. So it's not usually a problem. You can mine from here without fear of attack, because as we saw, there are enemies up there. So if we mined from up there, then we would be liable to getting attacked. So once we've got a little room here, there's the copper right there. Once we've got a little room here, so let's hit the 4 key and just press our let's place down our heater cooler. Now if we just look at the temp, now if you just look at the stats here, 15 to 35, I think the planet can go beyond that range, so it could be that we're beyond our comfort zone here, but on this temperate planet it's not really a problem. But it does give a light source, which is the main reason we made it. Now another thing we're going to do at this stage is place down one of our portable constructors, and we're going to get it going on biofuel. So I'm going to put all of the wood in there and all of the plant fibers and just load this up. So we can't make that many, of course, and we'll be picking it up way before we get to that. But as you can see, it's quite slow, and we're going to be dependent on biofuel for the first few days of the game. So seeing how slow it is, you really want to get this going as soon as possible, which is why we got the wood, and the fiber didn't help us either. Alright, so now we're in this position where we are relatively safe from any predators, and what you want to do right now is press F5 to activate our drone. Now you'll normally get that message up here. There's another object in the spawn area, and you just have to look around and keep spamming F5, and it can take a while before you find, oh there, that was pretty quick. It was around here, wasn't it? And there you go, our drone is activated. And now we can equip, just press the 2 button there, which equips our survival tool. We can right mouse click, make sure it's in resource mode, and then we can just go mining. In drone mode. Because the trouble is, if we did this ourselves, we would end up in a deep hole. You'd have to dig yourself out of quite a big hole here. Doing it in drone mode means that we only have to get from there up to the top of our little tunnel, which is up there once we're done. So let's keep mining. Now you do get these explorer tokens, which we just saw. Now you don't really need those till later in the game, but they are useful because you can get some good stuff later in the game once you pick up enough of them. So just cancelling the drone there and just going back to where we were. So what you can do now, depending on how much ore you've picked up, is just place another constructor, because we've got the ores. You press F to access it. Okay, input. And you can start to turn your copper ore or whatever ore you have into ingots, which is what we're going to be using to build stuff later. So that's obviously, again, a lot more than we can make, but we can stop the mining at any point and just keep feeding this with ores. And we'll be doing this all night, so that once we get to the scientist camp tomorrow morning, we'll be armed with ingots rather than just the raw ores. And then we just keep going. So there is an icon in the top right there, which is counting down right now, 23, 22, and the arrow down tells us that the sun is going to be going down in 21 seconds, and then it's going to be night. So just pressing M again, what we're going to do is just, let's just ping first. So we're going to mine this out to exhaustion, and then we're going to hit this mine. I'm going to have a look at this one as well, and there was a mine up here as well, remember. Now, just looking at factions, we did not discover the Talon, so we're not losing reputation points. But as mentioned, that's just a technicality, because if we were losing reputation points, you start at 18,000, unless you get below 12,000, then you don't become unfriendly. And we would only use up a couple of thousand if we mined all of these mines here, so that's not an issue. And then we'll get here into the scientist camp tomorrow morning, and by then we'll be at level 7, and we should be armed with lots of iron, copper and silicon. And day 2 we would just spend the whole day building stuff, and that's the goal. So day 1 has just been getting the resources. Day 2 we'll be starting to build ourselves up a little bit. So let's just keep going, and I'll end the episode here, and I'll see you tomorrow at the scientist camp bright and early for the start of day 2, at which point we'll start building stuff. So thanks for watching, and see you later. Oh, before we go, as you can see, our hunger is 84 there. And going back to our survival constructor, we did start making all these food here, or these energy bars. Now, one thing about the energy bars is you've got this perish timer of 90 there. Now, if you move these over to your inventory, that perish timer will start counting down. Now, if you leave it in the output here, that perish timer doesn't start. So you want to leave, takes up one of your output slots, but you want to be leaving the energy bars here, because then they last throughout the whole game. They never go bad. And to eat one straight from the output slot here, you just need to go shift and then right mouse click, and that eats one. So what we're going to do is just keep eating till we're close to 500. Takes a bit of a cooldown as mentioned, but back in a minute. So we're at 439. We need one more meal to get over 450. So if we eat that now, we get to 483, and a message pops up which says you feel very comfortable and satisfied. So what's going to happen now is that because we're over 450 here on our hunger bar, we start to gain health. So all we need to do while we're mining through the night is just keep this over 450, and then by tomorrow morning we'll be back to full health. Now there are butterflies in the game as well, which they introduced in version 1.8, or is it 2.8? 1.8. And if you run into those butterflies, we didn't run into one today, but if you do run into them, they replenish your health. So that's just one addition to the game. I can't really see why they did that, but anyway, it's just an addition to the game that you may run into those butterflies. And you kind of hear footsteps, so it sometimes can be a bit unnerving, because it sounds like you've got predators coming onto you, but if you run into those butterflies, then you might see that your health increases, and you get kind of a health icon down here which counts down as your health goes back up if you run into one. But anyway, let's start keep mining, and keep mining through the night, and I'll see you at the survivor camp tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching. Bye.